Oh shoot,
Here we go. I think we're recording now.
we are. There was no music or nothing.
There's no music or nothing. Not
Nothing.
on the live
No
version.
fanfare. No fanfare
I
or
guess we
nothing.
should have like maybe a little like intro music.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
That should be mine. I'll be like, whoa,
Hey,
hey guys, how we doing?
howdy everybody.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Brian Show.
Just put some fish back in that there lake. I'm about to tell you about my life.
What lake is that? We don't know.
It's Lower Cataract Lake.
Oh, you know what it is.
Right by Green Mountain Reservoir. It's like, if you've been to Keystone Resort and stuff like that, you going out to Dillon, towards Dillon on I-70.
Towards Dillon.
For their ski resort area. Instead of the skis, you got to go right, start going up in that north area. Yeah, it's a high mountain lake. It's gorgeous. It's
so cool.
up there. Yeah, we hiked around it. I was with Austin. Yeah, I thought maybe he would be having a really great story about how he lost his dad in this beautiful mountain trail. Like, everything's fine. Let's go. That was good.
That's pretty great. So for people that don't know Brian and I are in the same time zone. We're actually in the same state of Colorado. So that's, if you take I-70 all the way into the mountains, that's somewhere up in the mountains. They're going to find that lake.
You say you hit that lake, you turn around and come back. That's where we are.
That's where we are.
That's where we're located. Just
on the other side of Colorado.
Yeah.
There's half of Colorado, it's kind of split down the middle. Half of Colorado is Utah, and half of Colorado is Nebraska.
Oh, shoot.
That's how I see it. There's mountains on one side, plains on the other.
I pictured when I'm going to Colorado, I pictured like trees and log cabins sprinkled everywhere. It was going to be so amazing. And then the planes coming into the airport. I'm like, they didn't say we were going to a different airport. What the heck? This is the middle of nowhere. There's a tornado over there. What the heck? It was pretty scarring for me.
Welcome to the high plains, Brian.
Yeah, they didn't. Nobody spelled that out for me. Sometimes you just have to learn things the hard way.
That's true. Sometimes you just got to do it and then feel the pain of having done it.
Then be bitter. Yeah.
Yeah, and then be bitter for a while. Have a chip on your shoulder. Hold that on to grudge for a couple of years.
Right.
And later in life, forgive yourself and forgive your parents, and then
right.
And then you can get on with your life as a middle-aged adult
before you die.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's the whole thing. I think we basically just covered everything.
Let's just say that this was the nutshell of whatever we're going to be talking about. That was the nutshell version. So tune out. Don't forget to subscribe and all that other stuff.
Smash that subscribe button.
Because that's probably everything else is just going to be the long-winded version of what we just said.
Right.
And I'm good at being long-winded. So.
Well, there's no rules. So, we could kind of do whatever we want. The only things that I had kind of in mind were like talking a little bit about you and what you do and what you think people should know about you. And then I have some other questions that are kind of fun and we could get into. And then one last thing after that will be related to like this. But yeah, I just wanted to like start out with talking a little bit about Brian and what Brian does. And you could talk about the work you do. You could talk about the fun you do. You could talk about kind of anything. So whatever you want people to know about.
All right. I'm going to start this at Bamberger's.
Ooh,
do you know what Bamberger's is?
I don't know what a Bamberger's is.
It's like a hamburger.
Like a hamburger.
No, it's an old department store like Macy's or JCPenney's.
Oh, okay.
It was in the shopping mall. My mom used to take me to Bamberger's when she was shopping. And the thing I liked about Bamberger's was they had like an electronics section. It was like the camera department, and they had computers on the back wall. And so I used to go and just watch the computers. Mostly people were already there, like using them and stuff. So I was watching over shoulders, looking at who's doing the cool thing. And the one computer always got my attention. It was the Commodore
64.
and it was like, it has all these cool little graphics on each character. Like, so the control key and the shift key kind of gives you different things that you can do with a character,
Right.
like squares and slashes and checkers and stuff like that. So I thought that one was pretty cool. So I would have watched that one the most. And then always too scared to like jump in, I'd be just hanging back far enough out of the way. And one day, when mom's going to Bamberger's, you want to come along? Sure do, like I'll go. And instead of climbing through all the clothing racks, I go over to the department there, and nobody was there. Yeah, and one of the computers, the Commodore, was running a program, like it was doing an infinite loop program that displayed text and scroll, display text, scroll. And since I had watched over people's shoulder, I knew what to do, right? So I stopped the program and I listed it, and I saw it was like 3 lines of code. And I was just like, oh, like there's a program. So I asked the guy for a piece of paper and a pencil, and wrote down the program, and then basically stowed that away until I successfully badgered my mom to buy me a computer. That was the first program I typed in, and then I just kind of started modifying it from there, and then buying computer manuals, and basically that's when I was hooked. Oh,
Whoa, that's so cool.
so I was like 30. Yeah, I was past the clothing rack, hiding in the clothing racks.
Mom!
I still would kind of go to the dressing room and kind of wander around there, but no, that's creepy. No, so like it's really the time that kind of triggered the spark for me, and I was like, that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I started doing all kinds of stuff, writing my own programs. I got my own bulletin board server in my bedroom, like went to school for computer science, got a great job out of school, quit that to start an internet company because I graduated in 93, internet commercialized in 95.
Yeah.
Like that was a nice opportunity. So did that, uprooted my life to go to California, worked with companies, kind of, that big dip of starting, leaving a good paying job and starting your own thing was, painful during the time, but it was a good coming out of that. And so, I've done a lot of software stuff. I found myself as basically the translator between the CEO and the engineers, with having an engineer mind and having done more of the business side of my own ventures, kind of allowed me to understand the communication and the needs of both sides. So I've had a lot of experience in that role. And then 5-6 years ago, I decided to start a local, I wanted to do a co-working business. I was picturing like an incubator, entrepreneurship, this really cool ecosystem. And it didn't quite work out like that. It's just in this town where I live, everybody's got big houses and bedrooms, and they're like, I don't need to pay money to go work somewhere. Like that wasn't the only value that I was trying to offer. But anyway, I
Right.
basically gave that up and turned that into I turned it into an event center, art gallery to sell it, got rid of it, and then started. The cool thing was I started to develop my own technology camps, like tapping into that Bamberger's experience.
Right.
I started hosting Minecraft clubs for kids and stuff like that, and I would see like how they were getting stuck on what I thought was simple stuff. Like they knew how to play the game better than me, but when it came to oh, you could program in the game. How does that work? I don't know. Can't figure it out. I'm like, ooh, okay. So I figured it out, and I would teach kids how to program using Minecraft and develop my own summer camps, and now that's what I do for a living. So I'm the worst role model for my son. I sit around all day and play video games and take naps and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, when I get older, I want to, get a job, probably work a few hours. I was just like, wow, I think this is pretty cool, but I may be doing him a terrible disservice about the real world.
Right.
Like he doesn't see the same level of hustle that I had when I was younger, but
Right.
but hopefully he sees the outcome of the work that I'm doing. as well, which is rewarding.
Right.
But you know, so anyway, yeah. So that's the long story of, you know, me being basically a game studio, and my niche is basically producing content inside of games that kids love.
That's big.
It's fun.
That's super cool, dude. We used to like, so Brian and I worked together on a couple different, well, on a major project called Mind Fair, which was like this nationally touring Minecraft show. And Brian used to bring this really cool content to the show. I was running the show. Brian was running that content. And he's like amazing on stage and does really cool stuff for kids. The language that like we used to use at Mind Fair. I don't know if I've ever used it with you. We used to call it sneaking in the vegetables. At least I used to call it that with my team.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like where there's like this thing that they are into that we think is cool or that they think is cool, and like kind of letting them do it, but not letting them know that there's nutrition, that it's
Right.
good for them. Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
To answer the parents, like, I don't want my kids just rotting their brain playing video
Right.
games. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, well, you could actually, if you point them in the right direction, you can create incredible life skills and jobs, career skills because of their motivation, rather than squashing it and
Yeah.
sending them outside into the lake and get mosquito bites.
Having to go on a hike with dad at the lake, maybe
Yeah.
try to push dad in the lake.
They get that malaria. That's not going to give them any good job opportunities.
It's ridiculous. So like
Yeah.
you got, it sounds like a pretty cool, fun job, but like what would you say, and maybe this has changed over time, but like what would you say is, you know, your favorite part of the work you do? Right? Because there's probably lots of different parts. Like people used to yell at me because they knew I used to do Lego stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, you play with Lego all day." It's like, first of all, not true. Like actually, I really loved working with people and making an impact for kids and developing the team members that I had, which is like totally not what people would expect. Like, how would you kind of describe the things that are the favorite parts of your work?
Yeah. I'm in a tough spot because of my background. I'm stuck between doing it all and trying to work with people to do it, work with a team.
Yeah.
But, I think the most rewarding thing, like doing Mind Fair, being able to like produce a game and then have thousands of people play it over the weekend and be able to toy around with them and encourage them and give them a positivity on like, yeah, you did it, good job, you can do more, and then point them to a place, like content that I've produced.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff, super rewarding, putting on a show for kids and like it going well. Like, even though in New Jersey, the one kid gave me the middle finger, that was, I still felt pretty good about it.
New Jersey and you
That's
only get one.
Yeah.
That's like.
So I grew up in New Jersey. That's how we used to say hi to each other. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she was like, we were walking through the mall. She's like, that kid just gave you the finger. I'm like, yeah, I gave him the finger too. And she's like, well, what's the deal? I'm like, oh, he's my friend, He's your friend? Yeah. Like that's how
does
we
not
said.
Compute. Yeah.
That's how we greeted. But yeah, so I think for me, it's the outcomes are the things that are the most rewarding, and the process is the most challenging, and where I am, still feel like a beginner, trying to figure out how do I either do things myself or cultivate a team to do it, and how do I manage the cash flow and the expectations and building people. That's the hard part. So when it's done, I like the finish, which comes not often enough, which is why I cry on the floor right over here a lot. I'm not good enough. I can't do this fast enough.
I can't keep doing it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think the journey of like creating something and then getting to the finish line is so crazy and different for like a lot of people. What's what's something that's challenging you about your work right now? Or I mean, it doesn't have to be about work. What's just something that's challenging you right now?
Yeah, I think in general, it's like trying to find the core team. You know, like
Yeah.
I did a talk for my college, like after I graduated, they invited me to come back. They were having like a series of kind of like alumni come back and talk to people. And that made me kind of review like what value do I have to offer to these kids. And when I looked back, a lot of the stuff that I was doing, I always had like somebody else involved. Like it was a team effort, you know.
Yeah.
I had, and I think everybody's like, when I had that co-working space, the people that did join, they were in the endless search for the right partner, like the business partner that kind of picks up their weaknesses, but shares their motivation and energy.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. That's so hard to find, you know? And so like, I'm at this point now where I am stuck between kind of like where I want to be as a creator and what would be the right thing to do to grow the business bigger. You know, I'm constantly rewarded by the creation process rather than the building the best machine from a distance. You know, so like whereas you like to cultivate people and manage the thing, I like to be in there building the Legos. You know, that's my problem is like, how do you put down the Legos and be like, oh, other people wanted to play with them. My Legos. Get out of here. You get the dumb. Here's your Legos. You get all the brown ones that are just 2 spots. Can't do anything with them. Yeah, that's my struggle.
That's pretty good. That's a great struggle.
It kind of sucks.
It kind of sucks. Like any good struggle, I guess it sucks.
Yeah, it's. And I don't know if I have, like, for me, I see long-term, like I picture like old Brian, like, well, older Brian. I picture like middle school age. I've got like a makerspace shop, like teaching kids business, creating products and business, that kind of a, you know, being able to offer an education experience like that, whether it be out of school, private school, camp, whatever. Like that's kind of where I picture myself long term. But I want to have so much better stories to tell.
Right.
Oh yeah, so I had that company grew to 16 billion and sold it off. No, that actually doesn't motivate me, unfortunately. I think that I would like to just be at a point where I could be comfortable in giving to other people, because that's what I do. Like that's what I want to do. And so to be able to like take care of myself and my family first, and then have extra to share, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just talking to Dave, who you introduced me to, and we were kind of talking about a similar thing. He suggested that I read the book Give and Take by Adam Grant. Yeah, and I was like, I gotta go read that. Yeah, gotta go do that.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's like, you know, like it's one of those good counterintuitive type. Yeah, you think this is the person that always wins? You're wrong. It's that person. It's the person you would judge as a loser is the winner.
Right. It's tricky.
Something like that. Nutshell that one real quick.
Yeah, you know, piece of cake. Makes a lot of sense.
Basically, if you're doing the wrong thing, just tell people it's the right thing and they're wrong.
This is the George Costanza principle, where he just does the opposite of what he would do.
Right, because I know my instincts are completely wrong.
Yeah. It's classic. So good.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for you. That we'll see if it's any good. We'll see if these questions are any good, because I'm just kind of dry running. What's something that you used to believe as a child, but that you don't believe anymore?
So, besides like having a watermelon plant grow in my belly if I eat a watermelon seed, aside from that,
you can list as many of these as you want.
I can remember the panic I had when I ate the first watermelon. When I ate a watermelon seed, I was like, oh, and then I'm picturing like a watermelon, like that's big. that's gonna grow in there. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be dead soon.
So bad.
Yeah, I didn't know any much better. That's when I wasn't even in my 30s yet, so
Right.
that's my excuse. Yeah, no. I think most recently I'm on the plant-based whole food swing of things, and so I've been like something just happened. My wife is like totally shocked because, you know, wow.
Is she shocked right now?
No, we're having some serious wind. A cooler just like blew down the stairs and out into the yard from the deck.
Oh, jeez.
Tornado, boys! This is gonna break the commercial right now.
Do you have to
Break
go
the
batten
commercial.
down the hatches?
Is that a break the commercial? Make like 15 million in commercials, and then be like, oh no,
Right.
it's fine.
We could do that if you need to stop.
Yeah, throw that in there.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, so the things, yeah, so like the kind of getting on that bandwagon, my wife was like trying to get me to be healthier and stuff like that. I was really depressed. I was, just having a hard time in life, and so like she's like, why don't we eat healthier? And I'm like, okay. And I love like sausages and like all the wrong stuff. That's my favorite, And so I was just like, okay, like what do we have to do? And then so I was just on board with all of that. I think part of it was my oldest daughter was already moving in that direction, so we were trying to support her and not be all grumpy like you are. Like when someone's like, oh, I'm vegan, you're like, all right. You ruined everything. I was going to have a
great.
pizza party,
Right.
but now you...
Oh, you ruined July 4th. Great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, now you're judging me? You're judging me because I'm having pizza? Is that
the
it?
judging,
Like,
that's a thing. Yeah.
like,
We're like,
so,
oh,
like,
great. Now who's judging who? Like, now we're open to like, oh,
you're vegan, and now, like, yeah. So, like,
right.
I was in that position where somebody would be like that. I'd be all grouchy about it. But,
Right.
When it's my daughter, I'm like, oh, tell me more. Like, is this good or is that bad? Like,
yeah.
We started to navigate it better, and then we started doing research, and it's pretty compelling. The research and the way things are today is a lot. A lot of it's because of marketing.
Oh yeah.
And
oh, dude, we could do a whole like an hour on that for sure.
Yeah. Like the largest one of the things is the. Do you know about the Dust Bowl? That happened in the earlier 1900s.
Oh, you told me about this here in Colorado.
It affected Colorado and I think Oklahoma, some other states. But it's like I think it's like the largest man-made disaster. I don't know if you can have a man-made natural disaster, but basically, they got sold by the land. What happens is it rains when you cultivate the land. The rain follows. Like they got people all on board with that, so they dug up all the land, and no rain came and dried out, and all of a sudden you have all this dust from the wind where there used to be grasses and stuff like that. And so marketing, right? This dude's got to sell some land. I got to get these parcels sold. So whatever sells it best, I'm going to convince you that, and then you got, meat and dairy and this and that. And like everybody's kind of doing that. So that's kind of where I am. I'm on the, I basically just like stopped eating like meat, milk.
Yeah.
I stopped doing artificial sweetener, cutting back on oil. I'm just like, I'm old. Like, do I need to argue with it or accept it and try to find a way around it? But yeah, it's like I've been pretty happy with it. And so I'd say that's the biggest change, like my entire, almost, 40 plus years of believing one thing.
Yeah.
And now realizing that a lot of it's just architected by marketing,
Dude, if you've ever read like Omnivore's Dilemma or any of these other like Michael Pollan books, there's so much information in there about the commoditization of like food products, specifically corn, it's like, it's really good. Like it's amazing to read through it, but you have to understand that like there's this huge section in the middle of like 200 pages where it's just like only talking about corn production in the 50s, the 60s,
Yeah.
and it's like, so it's like brutal. But overall, I think he sort of broke down his books in like simpler and simpler works. So like he started out with like, here's this complex thing about you have to do and all this crazy stuff, and like here's why, and here's like Earl Butz and the Nixon administration, and here's how they commoditize corn and the got milk programming and all that's the subsidization,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And then eventually he gets it down to like, eat food, mostly plants, not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of a moral
Try
of
to
the
dumb it
story.
down. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully like we can skip all of that. We can skip it right there. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So that's kind of, I guess that would be my current answer to that question.
that's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
you could just stick with the watermelon one if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I don't know. I like the Dust Bowl situation.
know.
Okay, I got another one for you.
All right.
You've seen the movie The Matrix because we're both nerds, so
Mm-hmm.
you must have seen it.
Yeah. It's been a
So
while.
it has been a while. If you could, what 3 skills would you like plug in Matrix download
Oh,
immediately?
okay. I've said that. Like, I wish I could buy a cartridge for that,
Right.
which basically is like, I'm too lazy to learn how to do this, so I wish I could
Right.
just already have what that person has.
Right. The question is basically like, what skill do you really want, but you don't want to do the work to get?
Exactly.
It's
Right.
like, what is a lot of work, and you just wish you got all the benefits, but you
Right.
don't want to eat the shit sandwich that it comes with.
Right. Yeah, because growth mindset would say I can do anything if I put if I put the effort
Right.
into it. But I want to just buy the cartridge.
Right.
They're on sale.
Right. 2
3
for
for free. 3 for free. Um, that's a tough one. Like one thing kind of just out in the middle of nowhere, like obviously like music is an area that I would love to be able to just get the cartridge for. I wouldn't mind learning it, but again, like it'd be cool to just be able to do it right now. And like more specifically, like the thing that I want to be able to do, I want to be able to play piano ballads.
ballads.
Yeah, like love music, like
Yeah.
romantic, heartfelt music. Like I
Yeah.
want, like it fills up your eye with water, but it
Yeah.
doesn't drip out, like that kind of a thing.
Right.
I want to not quite like Barry Manilow. Right, this not like that. Like I don't want the young girls to cry necessarily, but I want everybody's eyes to get more watery.
Right. We need more watery eyes.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like that's I could escape in doing something like that. I wouldn't mind if it had like a bonus pack with it. I don't know if I'd want to buy a second cartridge, but I would also, to complement that, I would want to get like the bonus hard rock electric guitar skill, so I could jam out and just shred it up. Yeah,
Right.
just go to town and just crank it up, annoy the neighbors.
Yeah.
And then play a little piano ballad about them. Like I need to.
Watery eyes.
My life is so sad. I need to play that music to get out my frustrations. You don't understand. Yeah. Wow. See, this is the interesting part because I've got I am going to ask for skills so I could do the work.
Right.
So I don't have to study to do the work, but I already know that as one person, to do the work is not the right thing to do, right? So the skill, but you're a strong man, so obviously you cannot choose to drink in front of me.
For those of you who don't get that pretty reference.
Inconceivable. So yeah, so I could clearly not choose the cartridge for
really
managing people. I'm just getting started.
It's really good.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Like, so I probably should pick the one that allows me to learn how to better grow a team of people working towards my vision rather than me, secluding myself to just work with my vision and do it. So, because I could ask for, I just want to learn, I would like the cartridge for all these programming languages or something like that. And then I don't need anybody. But then where do you get when you're all by yourself? Sad.
So
So
like some kind of leadership, is that what you're trying to, like management?
yeah,
Personnel management?
communication, leadership, motivation, inspiration. Like how do you become a consistent, solid leader that people want to follow and produce content for?
Right.
Because I still want to get to that end game of getting that content produced, but
right.
it's hard. I mean, it's hard because it was one thing if you have all of your people that are on salary and you could guide them and direct them. That's one thing. I'm not in that situation. So I need the version 2 of the cartridge that now works without money.
That's a harder one. I don't know if that's available. I don't even know if like the Matrix universe would have access
can offer to that one.
Yeah.
I know that's my wife gets on my case about living in a dream world about stuff. I'm like, I was constantly. I remember we bought when we bought our first Saturn car, the SL1 was the basic and the SL2 was nicer. And we wanted the SL2, but
right.
And I used to be like, what if we take it in for an oil change and they accidentally give us an SL2? What if, let's play it out. So that's, she just, SL2, you're not being realistic.
So you guys have that language now.
Yeah.
You can use
3 digits is all she has to.
That's so funny.
Doesn't stop me though. Recklessly
I don't see anything
optimistic.
wrong with that. I guess if you're only locked into that delusion, then it's probably not healthy.
Why you call it delusion, man? What's the deal? Why are you name calling?
Listen, Brian, this interview is an intervention.
That's right. Check behind the curtain. I thought I heard breathing. Yeah, that's it's an interesting thing. It's really proven, like it shows itself really well if I play poker.
Huh.
Because people try to read me and they're like, what are you thinking? SL2. Like, I know that there may not be any chance of me successfully pulling off this hand, but I'm all in. And it's not even a good bluff. It's a failure of a bluff and a bad decision. And so I'm terrible at poker because of that. Too optimistic for poker. Yeah. And it's fun to just look at people and be like, when they see my cards, what were you thinking? Could have had you. You don't know. Could have had you.
Could have happened.
Could have happened. That's why I'm not great at multiple choice testing, because I'm like, I don't know. Given the right circumstances, could be B or C. D is a little bit of a stretch, but I could probably make that happen.
Right, like you're trying to fit the answers into some reality. And you're like, as long as I could squeeze them in, then they all could be possibilities.
Right.
That's terrible. That's a terrible approach.
I have good problem-solving skills as a result because I don't back down from anything, right?
Right.
I think there's a chance for everything. What are your chances? 1 in a million.
So you're
saying I have a chance. Yeah.
There you go.
And the title of the movie sums it up for me.
Yeah, bingo. For those of you that are listening that don't know, it's Dumb and Dumber. Man, I'm gonna have all these movie references I have to remember to list.
Yeah. That's kind of our family language.
Dumb and Dumber.
I feel sorry. No, just movie quotes. I feel sorry for my kids because I just really do a poor job of preparing them for a normal world. It's they're talking movie quotes with their friends. It's not. It doesn't click, especially when the movies are from the '80s or whatever.
Right. It depends. Right.
uh, but
They're like, "What are you talking about? You never seen Singing in the Rain?" Their friends are like, "What? What are you talking about?"
right. Yeah. Not even like something cool like Mary Poppins or something like that. Yeah. Just like
Right.
more. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Sorry.
All right. Well, you got one
That,
more. You got one
that's
more.
two. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I need the third one right now.
You
Can
can
I
give it
help?
to me.
What's the, would you like it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm lazy.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet, but I wouldn't be
Huh.
nice to have.
Is it good? What's the shelf life on this thing?
I don't know that we're going with the Matrix universe here. So I would go with Matrix rules. And I don't think that there's a shelf life. I think once you load it, I think
Okay.
you're good.
But
Right?
if I don't load it, can I
Oh,
go to the store and buy and
right.
redeem my third coupon
You want an
later?
IOU.
Yeah.
I guess you
I'll
can. All right, fine.
think about it. Think about it.
Deal. You can sleep on it.
Yeah.
You still have one to cash.
Okay.
That's pretty good. All right,
I
change
might.
universes. We'll
Okay.
change universes and we'll go to, I guess, what would be an alternate reality of, well, I guess it's just an alternate reality of today. Which is if you were abducted by aliens and, they beamed you up and they got you all situated and you had to like communicate with them and their questions to you were like, tell us about humanity. And we'll assume that like these are benevolent. Somehow you got the impression that these were benevolent aliens. You weren't trying to hide any information because you were afraid of total earthly human destruction. You were just,
Right.
you were like, okay, like I think they're just trying to work out some of the issues of the universe. Like how can I support them?
Right.
How would you describe the human race?
This question is kind of like I gotta try not to get too out of the way with it, but it's so
I mean,
typical.
why
Like
not? There's no
the
rules.
question is such a typical human question. It's like, hey, you're whisked away to another by these strange things you've never seen before, and they want you to speak English to them. They're dudes like you, and they understand your language convenionally, and
Yes,
like
making all these assumptions.
I feel
Right.
like that's and I you know religion, I think, is a topic that falls into some of that, where we put ourselves into the position of something we don't understand rather than leaving it as something we don't understand. We try to reconcile it by making it similar to us. So it's interesting, like how our inclination is to make unknown things like us,
Yeah, for sure.
because it's uncomfortable. Like because I would have to use my third coupon to learn the language of these aliens
Right,
so that I
right,
could communicate to them,
right.
and if
Which
it's still
seems
good.
ridiculous when you could learn another instrument.
Exactly.
Right. Why would you waste it on alien language?
Exactly. Like
It'd be
telling them
crazy.
things. Why do I have to waste my time? I mean, I
Yeah,
like that.
forget it.
I don't mind sharing, but it's interesting though, isn't it? Like how we do that because we want the comfort of being able to understand it
Yeah.
and check the box so that we
Right.
can move on rather than leaving it on. I think people are uncomfortable leaving things unresolved and still
Right.
accepting them. So anyway, I think I didn't go too deep on that one. But so I would tell them. So this is another thing. Like my mind is a terrible place to be. So like I'll watch like a nature documentary. When's the last time you watched like a nature documentary?
Far too long ago.
Okay, so
Probably when I was a kid.
you know you got the hippo, the big
Okay.
hippo. He's
Yeah.
got all the lady hippos. The one
Oh
big
yeah.
guy hippo's got all the lady hippos.
Yeah. Classic.
And they are there. They're feeling safe and protected, and
Yeah.
genetically, he's the biggest and the strongest, and that's they're going to combine their genetics to make more contenders, bigger and stronger.
Right.
And, you know, people come in to fight him. He fights them off. It's always the winner that kind of propagates.
Right.
And we were watching, like, we just went to Yellowstone, which was amazing. And we watched a couple
Nice.
documentaries beforehand. And the bison, same deal. The elk,
Yeah.
bugling contests, you know.
Oh yeah, it's all just
Like,
slightly different. Yeah.
It just happens constantly. And
Yeah.
so I, you know, like, you know, so you think of like humans, well, what's our deal? Obviously, like, a lot of what they're doing in nature is totally illegal, right? In our world, in the human scenario, the rituals and the process, it doesn't fit the same. So I feel like we have, you know, so how do you describe humanity? It's like, so we've been put on this planet that kind of has created a process for it to continue to develop and stay strong and to optimize. And what you have is you have these things that have hacked the system, so any of them can find a mate, and they don't have the genetics don't propagate in an optimal way. They just scatter everywhere because they've hacked the system. And you know, they're clever and curious, and they just, you know, continue to push into new areas and do new things. But it's like, to me, I think, wow, like nature, it seems like there's this process here. We totally buck that process.
Humans are the hackers.
Yeah.
We just throw the whole thing. It's funny because the way you describe it as hacking, because I feel like hacking is usually something that you do to enhance the system. Like you have to kind of break it a little bit to get this other thing that you want, that like the system wasn't designed to do. So you're like, you know, if I wanted to make real legit, you know, Neapolitan style pizza, I can't do it in my oven. But if I hack my oven, I saw this on YouTube, if I hack my oven to run the cleaning cycle while I put my pizza in, but it doesn't lock the door, like now I'm getting closer, right? Because now I'm up to like 800 degrees, which is closer to like an actual oven pizza, right? So like but then again, you have the consequences, right, of hacking, which is, you know, the unknown consequences or unforeseen consequences of like actually breaking something that's irreparable or destructive to the system itself. So like the way, you know, I'm not like going any direction. I'm just kind of like outlining like the way you're describing hacking, which I think is cool in that it could be, it's like we're trying to go this really good way, but like there's some inherent risks.
Yeah, and we have this emotional reasoning component that the system as it was designed and as it works in nature doesn't work for us. And so we figured out a workaround.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's cool for us because we're humans and that works for us. And that's what motivates us. And that's what makes us happy and keeps us growing and keeps us in order and allows us to pursue the things that we deem important and meaningful.
Right.
In a world we're surrounded by things that don't necessarily have that. They have instincts, you know, they follow their instincts. They fight to the death.
Right.
Still, you know.
But we got all this new brain stuff, this brand new hardware that's just bolted onto the old hardware.
Yeah, right.
It's just like, cool, we still get the feelings and the instincts and all the other stuff, but now we're more conscious, to use a vague word here. We're conscious of it, and we're able to look at that part of ourselves and be like, why do I feel this way?
Right.
A bison doesn't really like, they don't have the processor for that. It's just like, no, this is what I do. There's no thought occurring. Like it doesn't.
No, it's like, I gotta have a mission. I have a mission. Right. I must complete it. I mean, they're not doing video calls or anything. They're just, you know, out there fighting the fight, seeing who's best. spreading the genes, repeat.
What do you
It's
think
pretty
is
crazy.
what do you think is valuable about the hacking part, and what do you think is the risk part of the hacking part?
Well, I mean, it works. We have created a system that works for us, right? You
Right.
know, at this moment in time. You know, it's like we were at the Grand Tetons, you know, and
Yeah, look at these. This is great.
and this is like the youngest mountain range in the world.
Really?
Yeah, at like I forget what it was, 9 million
Maybe
years or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Whatever it is.
you know, it's like the youngest. Ooh, and it's like you put millions,
Right.
and it's like incomprehensible.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
like, and you look at us in the past thousand years.
Yeah.
Um, holy crap! You know, like how can you play that out into a
Right.
million? Like, what's that going to look like?
Right.
So, so I feel like we are just using our animal instincts to make things work for us. You know, so using our
Yeah.
intelligence and our reasoning and our skills to make
Right.
things work for us.
Right.
Whether that's good or bad. I mean, it's good for us because that's what we want to do. So we're getting what we want.
That's interesting. I should probably write a bit like something on that, because I think a lot of, dude, there's so much in there about decision making and reasoning and how they're all tied to emotions, and it's just such a messy kind of place to think like about logical reasoning versus how you actually make decisions, which is you have a feeling first and then you think about it and then you make up the reasons why you feel like why you decided that like thing.
Right.
It's like it's the other way around, which is weird. And not to say that you can't make a logical math-based decision, right, ever. I'm just saying like that's the process, the order of operations. It goes emotion first, then like logical processing.
Right.
It's like there's a whole bit in there about that.
Yeah. And that's a sales tactic too, right? Like, you know, get them to want it, and then they'll start justifying, you know, they'll create the justification for it in their mind.
Right. The SL2.
If you do.
Just saying.
Never got it. Never got it.
Not yet. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, I can't wait to get that now. Yeah.
I'm gonna
that's literally what I'm gonna get probably as my big success. See, got it. 1994.
I wish I was in a position where money didn't matter at all, and I could just like go find like a cheap, just like it's like $1,000, like $600 car, you know, and just like send it to you.
You got it.
I would it just shows that like there's a guy with a blazer and he just like reveals the car for you. I would love to be able to set that joke up.
Yeah, I'd be on board.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a thing. At some point, I would like to be in a position where I could just buy an SL2 and send it to you.
Right.
That's a goal for me.
It's an interesting conversation too. Like you know, when you were in a position like that,
right?
What would you do? And how?
You know, it's funny.
After the SL2.
I know. See, those things are obvious, like differences between my life and my life now, and then decisions I would make in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But like, there's a lot of other stuff that I don't feel like I really would change. Like my focus areas, I don't think would change. Right. Maybe the exact projects I'm working on would change because I don't have to worry about how much this one is paying me versus that one. Right. Or something like that. But like, I feel like my focus areas would stay the same, and maybe some of them, like the day-to-day kind of stuff, would be different. I don't know.
I try to put myself in the position, hopeful to be in that position someday. Right. And I realize that it would be overwhelming, the amount of work that you would still have. It's not an escape from work. It's definitely more work to do and more things to like worry about. But I don't think you have to worry about them the same way you worry about like, am I going to be able to pay for my house and, pay for food and stuff like that.
Right.
It's probably a deeper worry. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I leaving the right legacy? Am I supporting people the right way?
Right.
Because you want to create sustainability, not Band-Aids.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I think about and then there's the people that want to screw you over because they know you have money, right? So you're watching your back, you're worried about your efforts going in the right direction. So I think it's a good, I try to remind myself about that. It's the whole grass is greener
You got a
situation.
slide for it. How do you have more?
I don't know why I put this one into my
How come
Zoom.
there was no hippo? There was no hippo slide.
Dude, close enough. Seriously. And I took that picture at Yellowstone. So
These are awesome.
These
are really cool.
Yeah, I'm saving some more here, just for when the right thing comes up.
I can't wait. I don't know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, like the whole grass is greener situation, right? Like you always thinking about other people, and like there was a poem that my high school English teacher read to us by Edwin Arlington Robinson, titled Richard Cory. It's a good poem, but basically it's about the rich guy in the neighborhood that everybody envied and they admired. He had it all. They wanted to be him, right? They were suffering. He was doing great. He was good looking, rich, had everything, great house, and he goes home and he shoots himself in the head.
Boy, dark.
Yeah, but it's a good lesson in kind of like how people they simplify. Again, it's like this whole human aspect of like they simplify the scenario and be like, my perception of I want my perception of you, like, so I perceive you to be happy and everything like that. They don't put themselves in his position and understand what's challenging him, because he's in a better situation than them as far as they're concerned. And so, like, I feel like that poem has always resonated with me in a way that it kind of brings me back to, like, when you're feeling jealous or, of people that are more successful than you, like, take a step back, like Richard Cory. Like, these people are also having difficulties. They're having struggles. They're different from what your struggles are. But becoming them doesn't solve your problems. It maybe changes them, or so I think it kind of makes me a little more at peace with the struggles that I have, knowing that they're my struggles, they're things I understand and I have to overcome, but I don't ever have to look towards somebody else as the solution. So get to look at other people, like Dave. Like I like a guy like talking with Dave, because we kind of share, when we talk, we just share the struggles, and it's not like, at least I feel like you don't want to be in the other person's position, but it's good to know, like, it's good to kind of understand, like, other people have things going on and hear more sincerely, because a lot of people are trying to fake you out, make you think everything's fine. So that insincerity makes it difficult to kind of everyone turns himself into the perceived Richard Cory rather than being real about stuff. Anyway, I think that, sorry to bring it into that dark side, but I feel like that's it's relevant, and I think that's important.
No, dark is good, dude. So far, like, some of the conversations that I've had, like, we've gone in a bunch of different directions, but like, that's powerful. I'm really glad you brought it up. It's a cool story. Actually, I'm gonna remember it.
And what the hell was the question? Was there a question that I didn't answer? Where the hell were we?
I don't know.
Do I have to bring a wild animal into the picture here? I have no mating pictures.
Oh, we were talking about human beings, aliens. We started with aliens.
Yeah, well, I think I covered that. Like, I'm gonna just tell them that we've been put in a planet where everything was set and fine, and we figured a way around it.
Right, and then leave that open to interpretation.
So I'll let those aliens that have kindly,
kindly kidnapped you.
made themselves human-like and also understood my English language, so I didn't have to use my coupon on learning their language. We'll tell them basically that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All that, and you got away with a coupon.
I still, yeah.
Still got
I
it.
mean, if I have to use it for that, I will. But I'll do that for the
Seems
team.
like not that important.
I'll do that for the team if it needs to be done.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know how much time we've actually spent on this. I've been spending about an hour, actually, a little bit over sometimes. Probably.
Yeah, I'm a little long-winded.
No, dude, this is fun, and also like sometimes you have to go deep, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I could go rapid fire on you with questions, but like I don't know.
Oh,
It's more.
Four? What
Right.
movie's that from?
No,
I bet
I
you
don't
never
know.
watched it.
No, I don't know it.
Back to School, Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh gosh.
He does the triple Lindy dive.
I love that movie.
3-meter board, flips onto the other 3-meter board, gets the score. So, did you ever see the thing where he's making the arm farts, and then licks his thumb and checks the air, and then he does the dive? So, I know, like you're talking about how much time we're wasting, but so when I was in college, in high school, I did diving like for 1 year after I decided to break my dad's heart and say I don't want to play football anymore. Like the bench is not moved by when it's left alone. I don't need to watch it anymore. Right. So I don't want to do football anymore. So I did diving. It went really well. Sadly, got to do it for 1 year. And then I did it a little bit in college. And so buddies dared me to do the Ronnie Dangerfield thing. So I got up there in my Speedo and then, it was a 3-meter board. And then, so I'm like, and then I walked to the end of the board and then did a dive. It was just an inward dive. And one of the judges gives me a 10.
Shut up.
I mean, it was a good dive, but like, he was there.
You got it. Yeah.
This is like, sometimes you just got to do it.
Sometimes you just got to do it.
Get the story. Do it for the story.
Outstanding.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was fun.
That's pretty good. Dude, that's fun. Thank you for sharing like a lot of this. Some of it like personal stuff and also just like thoughts and ideas. Like I also just love having fun with you. You're a person that I just appreciate on the goofball but also can get serious level, which is something that I think is awesome about you. I would love to, I only have like a couple more things on my brain and then whatever else you want to talk about.
Okay.
The last couple of things I had were, what is something that so like part of the the origin of doing this here is like to explain a little bit about each of the people that are in our little world, in our little Slack group, and figure out kind of like what are some of the uniquenesses of each person, and also to see like where people need support or help. So to kind of like, I don't know, break the ice a little bit with everyone and create a little community, which I think could be really cool. Because there's a lot of people in this little group that are pretty awesome. And I think more, I don't know, conversation could be really awesome for people.
Yeah.
Really like valuable. So, all that to say, like my question is, what is something that you feel like you would love to share with that community? And then also, what is something you're hoping someone else will share with the community?
Wow. Like that perceives that I have like some really valuable thing to share.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Take this, kid. Bit of wisdom. What's my dad used to say? When you talk to a fool, it's hard to tell who the fool is. So people don't know which one of us is the goof right now. No. I don't know. I feel like maybe if there's something like to understand about me, like if they're looking out for me, that kind of a deal.
Yeah, it could be that. I didn't want, so like I kind of wrestled with this question because I didn't want it to sound like, who wants to like run a workshop, a Skillshare workshop where we all get together and you talk about, it's like, cool, if you want to do that and that's what thing that you actually want to do because it adds value to you and also everyone else, great. but that is totally not what I had in mind. What I was thinking was just like, do you have experience in an area that you want to continue to share with other people? Like, do you have a story that you would want to tell people about so that they can learn from some experience you had? Or maybe you have like, I don't know, some like really just specific like business experience, or you know what I mean? Like kind of anything, like
Right.
thoughts, feelings, like anything else that you would want to kind of broadcast
Okay.
for that
Okay.
group. Yeah, it's really,
Okay.
I don't have
Okay.
it's
I
really
got you.
loose.
I got you now.
All right.
All right. I try to teach my kids to signal to me when I have made my
When they
point.
get the joke, yeah.
I'm like, if you just look at me like this, I'm going to keep talking. If you want me to shut up, then acknowledge that you understand what I'm saying. So hopefully all the people watching this know that. But okay, so that's good. Thanks for that clarification. So like, I think in a real basic level, I want people to know, like think about like marketing. Like I want people to know that I have a company called Cleverlike Studios. I produce games and content for, like that's my job, that's my business. And, I produce stuff for Minecraft in the Minecraft marketplace. And I'm looking for people that want to either get involved, like be part of creating games, be part of investing in the creation of games and education content. Want to be part of the team making content and want to learn.
Yeah.
And people that have, that have kids or grandkids or whatever that, or themselves that plays Minecraft and can kind of go seek out my stuff and check it out.
Cool.
Drop some mine coins, buy me some bubble gum, So like, I feel like that's the selfish use of that question.
Yeah.
So people know kind of like what I need in that sense. The more deep and meaningful piece might be, one of the things that kind of clicked for me while you were talking was, have you read The Secret or heard of The Secret?
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Now this is touchy. This is like more touchy than religion, I think. But basically, like The Secret is like, the concept is like your thoughts have energy and they create energy, they broadcast that energy into the universe and it attracts the thing you're requesting. Like, so if you think, oh, I'm a loser, I'm gonna fall, I'm never gonna get the SL2. You're telling the universe that you don't, that you don't want it. You're putting out the negativity.
Right.
But if you think about the positivity, then that you're attracting it. The universe is delivering it to you. And it's like the audiobook version is very spacey and has a lot of really credible people in it. But it's just a little too out there for me. Like, too bullshit. Because for me, I boil it down to like what's the real thing that's going on here? Like, so when you ask the universe for something, you are making a request, right? Which means you know what you want. Now go back to the whole Richard Corey thing. Like, a lot of people just spend their time wishing they had somebody else's thing.
Right.
They're jealous of somebody else and their situation rather than them having a direction and a desire, knowing what it is.
Right.
And maybe even taking steps towards getting it, right? Like, they don't think of that because they're emotionally vested in the perceived Richard Corey, right? And so you get this whole secret thing, like, you just ask for it or talk about it and the universe will give it to you. But really, like, if think about the mechanics of it. Like, if you know what you want and you know how to talk about it, it's not the universe's magnetism that's going to do it. It's your communication. Like, if I were to talk to you about something that I was interested in, and you were also interested in it, then we would talk more about it, and things would,
Right.
more things would happen, more connections would happen. Like
Right.
they, and this goes back to like when I was a kid. Everyone's like, "You're so lucky. You're so lucky that you got into computers." Right? And it's
Right.
like, you're so lucky. As soon as you like fishing, you find a friend that has a boat. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. Like,
Right.
and so it's like, wow, I'm so lucky. No, I don't ever think like that, because I think I'm more accountable. I like to take credit for my actions. And it's
Right.
like, I mean, when I get into fishing, I'm like excited about it. I want to talk to people about it. And somebody's,
Yeah.
you fish? Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go fishing. And then he's like, oh, my dad likes to fish too, and then we have a boat. You want to come with us, or something like that? It's like those things just happen, and that's kind of how the world works. When you know what you like and you talk about it, you connect with people, then good things start to happen magically, automatically, and perceived to be lucky, but they're not lucky. So I think knowing what you want and talking about it is most of the battle.
Yeah. Wow.
And a lot is like The Secret. People use it. My mom uses it
Right.
for a good parking spot.
Yeah.
I just know that if I go down here, I'm going to get a good spot. And there's other people that do this too, that I'm not going to say names, but there are other people that do it too. And I'm like, that's not the magic. Like,
Right.
and that's not,
Right.
if you had the magic, that's not the way to use the magic. Because think about it, like if it was true, like if it really worked and you used The Secret to get the best parking spot all the time, wouldn't you become handicapped so that you can get the handicapped parking spaces? So I'm thinking, don't be putting that mojo out into the universe about the parking
Right.
space. Take the walk instead, because what if the universe just misunderstands?
Right. That could be bad news.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So there you go. That was my little bit of marketing, and then a more, lesson for people to argue with.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. There you
I
go.
like arguing with lessons. Sounds cool.
I would be curious what you would do with The Secret. What would you do with The Secret?
If it was like with like an actual kind of magic wand thing,
No, like,
or do you just mean like
first of all, what do you
communicating?
perceive it to be? Like, that's the,
Hmm.
would you do you perceive it to be magic, or do you perceive it to be an intentionally guiding thing?
I don't know. I don't like when I heard about it, I was immediately like, okay, they're gonna push that all the way over because I'm a scientist, right? Like that's where my brain came from. That's how I like to think, and I like to approach things with a scientific mindset, skepticism, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So that I really, I don't know. I developed the way that I think from philosophy and science. And like those structures really helped me get to a place where I could make sense of the universe and make decisions that felt sound and were ultimately sound. I feel like so there's that. There's a type of thinking that is, which is magical thinking, which I'm not a fan of. And then there's other thinking that I like to do. So there's that. I think do I believe that like if you talk about something and if you are constantly thinking about it, like yeah, there's to some degree, like yeah, sure, if you're going to go to a party and you're having a conversation with someone and you say, you know what I've just been thinking about? You know what I've been really into lately? Like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, absolutely that can happen. That's what networking is. When you first start meeting other people, they usually ask what you do and they ask a bunch of boring questions. But if you're intentional about interviewing or networking, you can maybe develop your own questions, right? Like I asked you a bunch of questions that like, I don't know how many people ask those questions, but like, I just thought they were fun. And like, we could get at certain points about each other. Like if we ask these questions. So like, I feel like there's probably a way to explain the phenomenon of like, if you are really interested in having something and you put it at the front of your mind in conscious way, and you are actively looking for ways to like achieve that thing or integrate that thing in part of your life or understand that thing better, like it's going to be easier.
Mm.
That's about as far as I would go with this, describing it. Like, it'll be
Mm.
easier if you're obsessed with it, right? If it's front of mind and you're thinking about it and you're talking about it and you're engaging with people about it, it'll probably be easier. Probably isn't true for all scenarios, right? Like, if you want to be a doctor, there's kind of like one road. You can't like bump into somebody and do this way, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're hiring. Like, we should talk." Like, there's kind of like a specific like flow of like how you
Right.
get there, and so the thinking about it is probably, unless you're going to take action to go that route, like
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not going to do. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. I guess my answer is I could see how thinking about it and engaging with other people on a frequent basis could make your journey to that goal easier
Right.
in some
Yeah.
scenarios. I feel like that's probably a fair like answer.
You're probably more likely. Well, plus you know that's where you're heading. Even if you want to be a doctor, and you
Right.
asking the universe to become a doctor, then someone might point you out to a
Right.
school or a scholarship,
Right.
or
Right. Showing you the road.
break your heart and tell you what you could do instead of being a doctor. Who knows?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that I feel like connects to the whole like our, so maybe there is something that's not understood that I'll have to accept, that there's something
Yeah.
beyond comprehension that's happening there, this magnetism concept, but also it comes back to like how people need to reconcile things in their own mind, like
Yeah.
like it's magic, it's like a magnet, and we start to develop something that's within our schema as the explanation for something unknown, and I think that's the wrong, like, it's unknown, like,
Yeah.
if you don't know it, then like how are you going to apply what you know as the solution to the thing that you don't know? It doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Like you have to just kind of be out there like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Sometimes the answer's I don't know.
yeah. And then you
Sometimes
just have to, everybody's got their thing. Like my mom getting a good parking spot. I mean,
yeah.
she deserves a good parking space. So the universe should freaking pony up and give it to her and keep her legs in perfectly good condition.
Right.
So
Perfect.
what are you going to do? You asked like two questions there. What did I want to
what do
tell
you
them?
feel like you want to share, and
Oh,
what do you hope someone would share?
yeah.
Which I think you kind of answered, right?
I guess. I mean, like, so the things that motivate me are like real, when people are real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear like big success stories and stuff like that. I want to hear like the true part of it,
Here are the 8 things that sucked about this.
It's just like the whole like the other side of Richard Corey. Like I want to hear Richard's story, not what people are saying about him.
Right.
Because I feel like not only do I want other people to be suffering as much as me, like I don't want you to be having any more fun than I am. So I want to know, make sure that you tell me that you're suffering, so I feel better.
Right. Right.
But, I think it's just like, I feel like it's more empowering to know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Things are hard.
Right.
Everyone kind of builds their own a arsenal of difficulties to deal with, especially as you get older. It just keeps piling up.
Yeah, I bet.
And so, I like when people are dealing with it in a real way, which is really hard because, I hear like really successful people talking about their struggles with depression and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, like you're not going to be going on a job interview anytime soon. Like people aren't going to be looking at you critically for their own personal
Right.
goals. So it's probably okay for you to talk about it, but I think like an average person to put out what their problems are is a little too risky still, which kind of stigmatizes the reality of how people feel, which makes people cover it up and kind of fake it. And it's just kind of this cycle where there's too much of a facade, out there. So I don't know.
That's like, super true. And Instagram is built on that.
Oh, social media is
right.
Like,
so there's a whole podcast episode right there or whatever.
Yeah. My concept on social media is it's like the high school yearbook. So there's a picture. I can remember my high school yearbook is like all the cheerleaders and the football players having a pool party.
Right.
And I didn't know that pool party existed. You know, I knew I was not the popular kid, but I didn't know what I was missing. Like, I get the one yearbook picture at the end of the year that I have to look at and be like, wow, that looked like a lot of fun. And those are a lot of cute girls. And that, like, that could, and I would, definitely, I only had to see that once at the end of the year. Like, now social media is like every day from every angle.
Right.
It's just like, I think someone needs like a yearbook social media. It only opens up once a year. You can see what everyone did for the year, and then it closes down, and you got to hustle to make other people jealous of your life over the next year,
Right.
If that's what makes you happy. But social media is tough, emotionally, very tough. It's definitely more than a podcast.
More than a podcast, for sure. Maybe that's a fun thing we can get into.
Yeah.
But, dude, thanks for hanging out and goofing off with me.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man, this is fun. Hey. Which one is that?
That's Georgie.
Georgie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the last one, or you got more?
There's more. I don't know what's appropriate. I was thinking if there was any kind of air conditioning comments, then I would use this one as my air conditioning. This is the best I have for air conditioning in my house. Is to just pull up that picture.
It's pretty good. Looks like Winter Park.
Yeah, it's Loveland.
I haven't been there yet, but because my ski season was cut off by the corona.
That's true. Yeah.
So I have to. Yeah, that's a problem. But
and you almost got me out there, but this was the place that did me in.
This was the flip.
I just fell down. Not like my tragic fall down, like my actual flip didn't put me in any kind of danger. It was just the standing still and losing my balance.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's life for you right there.
Yeah, my son and I, we have some good memories. That day that damn near killed both of us we were like, we should go. We should go now.
We should go home.
It's the end of the day. If we can get down this hill alive, we need to get straight to the car.
Some days it's let's just get down the hill and get to the car.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good metaphor.
Yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing well and having fun, and I'm really glad to see you because I haven't seen you in a while.
Glad to see you. I know we don't get to hang. I get you to move out here, and then we don't get to hang out.
Sounds good.
You're probably getting so much more work done without me there.
I don't know, dude. It's tight. It's tight.
It's all right.
Cool, brother.
All right, dog.
Well, thank you, and we'll have to. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll hang soon. Yeah. Maybe we do some kind of socially distanced thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
All right. We can get bubbles or something like that. We could post it on our social media and make everybody jealous.
We could post it in our social media.
Be like,
do a TikTok dance. We can embarrass your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Done. Sign me up. Yeah.
All right, brother, man.
Okay, dude. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right.
Later.
Bye.